warm welcome to all the listeners for tuning into today's podcast from the Consulting and Strategy Club. Today, we are here to talk about the Indian startup domain and key considerations affecting their long term sustainability. My name is Shivansh Sabrawal and I have with me Sarvanan Krishnan. So, let's get going.
Nowadays, startups are building for long-term sustainability, but chasing
The valuations as of now. So, what's your take on it?
When you start something,
Hmm.
the thing is, it should go to a potential. I mean, a startup is just a wild bet they're making on a crazy idea. So what the people look for now is easy money into the pockets. So when they attain that level and the company is valuated at a good rate, they sell it off and move to the next path. The startup is not going to grow at a pace that it accelerated from 0 to 1. At the rate it is going to go from 1 to 2, right? Going from 0 to 1 is a tougher stage. Like, say, example, you are starting a new field of business today, and it reaches a valuation of, let's say, 10 crores 5 years down the lane. You are planning to sell it because it is an easy way out for you. You don't have to bear any potential losses. 10 crore pockets, it is in your bank, safe and secure. Next, you can either be a consultant somewhere, or you can be a freelancer, or maybe you could even work on some other idea on your own.
Okay. Like in my opinion, I see a very major flaw in the funding that is taking place right now. Funding is a very big criteria for even for the institutional investments and the financial brokerages. If I'm founder of a startup, I need my finances coming in to roll in and to just get my idea implemented. So that's the basic criteria which I have in my mind right now. And at times, in order to raise through subsequent rounds of funding, it becomes very important to have big names over your brand and a very good back building you need to have. So I think this is the main criteria which is forming a very big basis why startups are running for valuations. If I'm looking forward to pitch in a startup, first thing which I'm going to see is a potential venture capital, which is that he's going to see is the backing and how long they can go without making a single penny. So I think that's forming a very big criteria why these startups are particularly chasing valuations. And I think you have made a very valid point that when a co-founder or a founder makes an easy exit with a very hefty profit flow from his investments into the startup, that's also a very big deal. And people just rolling in into their 30s and getting out with billions of dollars. So it's gonna be a tough choice. So what do you think, in particular, the government can do in order to step in and probably guide these businesses to build for sustainability or not just for valuation? Because at the end, we want sustainability to last and we want these startups to reach each and every aspect of the society and each and every aspect of the population. So, what do you think can be a very supportive role from the government side, particularly for these kind of startups? Because at times, even a co-founder decides to make an exit, particularly because he can't see those profits coming in because of intervention from big conglomerates or from the government. So, what can be a little bit of ease for these startups from the government side?
Okay. So what I'm saying is, let's take the example of Facebook and WhatsApp. So Mark Zuckerberg started Facebook while he was in his Harvard, but it is valued at around 13.4 trillion crore USD right now, I guess. And it's even growing. It is because he has not decided to pull out of it. But at the same time, Brian Acton, he is now valued only at 280 crores. He pulled out of WhatsApp. But Jan Kong, who started along with him at WhatsApp, he is now having around 1.09 trillion crores USD. We have to build for sustainability. But if you pull out halfway, you'll only reach halfway through. The thing is, they value easy money and not the ones that you get in the long term. Like, the money grows out eventually. It is the best way to invest. Short-term investment is almost gambling. So people these days should be just focused on long-term growth. That is how a short startup should be designed. A startup is supposed to solve a problem, not to just make you rich. Customers and revenue are not the only goal. It is just an instrument that helps us achieve the goal, right? Probably government can come up with steps saying for sustainable startups, they can give up tax reliefs, some other benefits that they could get. Because when you go long term, you are just another Warren Buffett in making. He never made any short term bets.
Right. So as of now, yeah, I totally get your point. I totally agree with it that money should chase efficiency along with sustainability. As of
Yeah.
now, government is just trying to finance their deficit out of their profit booking, which is taking place right now with huge liquidity in chunk and building over and over. Yeah, I really feel that a lot of this money can go into venturing startups and funding businesses which have very big potential to serve the entire community.
If you take like startups, there are like container homes which are being trending across
Mm,
Pacific and the southern United States of America. The government
mm,
of India can invest in them, and probably the slum clearance projects and everything the government can take up with this. It is
mm.
a sustainable initiative.
Right.
Government can take such initiatives in startups, like fund startups which are trying to solve a problem. It will help the
Mm.
country also to grow. Potentially the GDP is going to rise when government takes in such initiatives.
Absolutely. The startup domain, as of now, it's very decentralized. So if we try to regulate it a bit about, particularly just about the investments,
Mhm.
uh, like as of now, we've seen that the major chunk of investments that these unicorns have comes from China.
Mhm.
So that also, I believe, pose a big threat over to our sustainability in the long run. Overseas investments can play a very big role in that. So
Mhm.
the people which are there on board, they have many major decision making and particularly targeting businesses and industries which they want to cater to.
Mhm.
So if we have an indigenous board and people who are trying to build for India,
Mhm.
it's gonna make more sense to them to be in their country. And as of now, only thing which is stopping them is that these guys don't have investments from India, from Indian institutional investors. These guys have backing from the Chinese institutional investors, and in the longer run, I
Mhm.
believe that it can cause a very big hindrance when it comes to catering a specific set of population.
Okay.
So I think that somewhat regulation comes needs to come into picture when it comes to the shareholding pattern of these particular non-listed startups. It's my personal opinion that I believe not just big conglomerates should step in to fund these startups, but also the institutional investors and banks. They should try to step in because these kind of investors are autonomous and
Mhm.
they are not looking forward to be in business and be on board and guide their decision making. So
Mhm.
at the end of the day, it's going to be very beneficial for the co-founders and founders to drive the business and drive their vision their own way. If they don't sell off their controlling stake to these big conglomerates.
So what we
Yeah.
need to do is create some tax slabs which are lower than the normal rate. Like when, let's say, a company X, which is of Indian nature, invests in a
Mm,
startup of Indian nature, let's give them some tax
mm.
relaxation. It will enable
Absolutely.
both the
Yeah, makes sense.
parties to be engaged and both the parties to benefit. So this might encourage them. So government needs to step up in this to cause this kind of drive.
Right. So thanks, Savan, for tuning into our podcast right now.
Thank you so much for hosting me.
Absolutely.
Thank you, listeners, for being there with us. We look forward to connect with you all very soon. Till then, feel free to share your views in the comment section down below.